miss these hours of instruction. It does break the monotony of working on the train.
But you have your Bible to occupy. And an old friend of yours arrives on the ship today, the new commandant, Captain Frere.
Commandant? Isn't he a magistrate in Hobart Town?
He found the paperwork tedious. He's quite a man of action, you know, which fact his dear wife owes her very life to.
And she will accompany him?
In some months' time. She will close out the Hobart house in the meantime.
I envy him. Having a wife at his side. I did take your advice, sir, and wrote a letter to my poor bereaved wife in Sydney. But I decided not to send it.
Decided not?
You know the reason, sir. The commandant must read all letters sent by convicts. Now, how could I possibly write such personal thoughts to my poor Sarah for other eyes to see?
I will take the letter on the ship with me when she sails, if you will assure me that there's nothing in it that the commandant might not read.
Bless you, sir.
Well, do I have your word, John?
Read it, sir. It is open. I can trust you, as a gentleman.
When's the next dose coming, Mr. Partridge?
No, John. I do not read private letters. I will personally seal it and post it.
Thank you, Reverend. Heaven bless you.
My new replacement arrives today. Before I leave, I shall apprise him of your exemplary behavior.
I heard you was getting a new commandant, but I didn't expect Captain Flog.
Lower away, lower away. Hurry up. All right, come on, you scut.
Now, what have we got here? Can't be a convict, he's too pretty for that. Sure you got on the right ship, Miss Nancy? Now you're going to have to learn to pick up those dainty feet, Miss Nancy. So get on up and give us a little dance.
Yeah, come on.
Now!
Sorry.
Dawes, come here.
You there. Warder.
Are you Mr. Truck? In a minute.
I'm Reverend James North, the new chaplain. Captain Frere informs me that you're to be my guide on a tour of inspection.
Certainly, Reverend. Would this afternoon?
I would prefer to start immediately.
Well, hang about. Come on.
New chaplain in the frigate, just come in on the ship.
Do you believe in God? Not here. When we got bagged in London, the reporters were all over us. I was a bloody celebrity.
Ah, yes.
I'm not going to make it. I know it.
We all think that at first.
But I don't know if I want to.
It's always the next thought.
Yeah. Well, royalty visited me in jail. A real fancy lady. Come on, cheers. It's true. Maybe not royalty, but she was a real lady.
How would you know what
Her name was Lady Eleanor Devine.
What would royalty want with you?
Well, she was looking for her son. He was a sailor, supposed to have drowned on the way to India.
Why was she looking for her son if he was dead?
Because she found out his name weren't on the crew list. She thought we might have come across him in their travels.
Cheers, I'm disappointed in you. Haven't you learned anything I've tried to teach you? Lady Eleanor come to visit me. I would have, was she a looker? I'd have told her I knew where her son was.
Yeah, and collected a nice fat reward.
And collected what every English lady can't get enough of. While her husband was out chasing foxes.
Well, Nancy, it's murder this time, is it?
Mr. Trout, I saw what happened. This man, Kirkland, isn't it, was merely acting as a peacemaker.
Not the way I saw it, Your Reverence.
You will be reporting this.
Have to, Your Reverence. But there'll be an inquiry and you can say it your way.
When?
6 o'clock tomorrow morning.
I'll be there.
Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed. Our Father which art in heaven.
Come on, Dawes. I want 50 of your best.
I don't flog, you know that.
I don't know that.
You will begin immediately, Dawes. Or you'll be next.
You can start with me.
No. I'd rather you do it. They'll flog me anyway, and it'll be worse. Please.
One.
Separate the cats, damn you!
Two.
Oh my God.
Three.
Oh my God.
46. 47.
Stop a moment. He may be shamming. Untie him and give him water. I thought so. You can continue.
No! No more!
Fetch a man with another cat. I'll give you that man's 50 and another 50 on top.
Stop!
Oh, my God. This man is innocent.
You're the only one who thinks so. We looked for you at the inquiry this morning. Tie him up.
Doctor. I think Kirkland is dead.
Yes, Mr. North, I believe you're right.
Strange.
Perhaps he had an internal disease.
A disease of the heart, maybe.
I'll do a post-mortem. We'll see.
Cabbage? One. Two. Three.
I have nothing to say to you, Reverend.
Mr. Dawes, I have written a letter to the governor in Sydney, giving him a full report. And I will not rest until this dreadful incident gets a proper hearing.
I'm sure Kirkland will be pleased to hear that, Reverend.
All my own invention. Completed just a month ago. With this new relay system, we can get a message through to any of the 7 stations along the way in a matter of seconds. All the way to Hobart Town in about a minute.
What a pity it wasn't completed sooner. I might have heard from you more than once in the past 6 months.
You know, I'm not much with a pen. But now that you're here with me,
I've been planning this bolt for a year, Dawes. Look, my wife will even have a boat waiting.
How'd you manage that?
Worked out the details, and Reverend Meakin was kind enough to deliver them to her.
What about the semaphore?
Frere's going to be sorry he built it.
Well, what do you say? It'll just be Leslie, Charlie, Gabbett, Jemmy, and us.
I don't like the company.
Don't worry about them, they're just decoys. While you and me double back the other way.
Oh!
Wasting your time if you're counting on her. Don't forget, I was in the courtroom in Hobart. If she didn't help you then, she won't now. What do you say? It's all set for tomorrow. Look, you're the only one here besides me with brains. I need someone like you.
Or maybe just need another decoy for later. I have my own plans. You'll have to manage without me.
hold on to me, dear. The trip down could be rough.
Take Dawes off train duty. I don't want him anywhere near my wife ever again.
There's a message coming through, Harry. 1, 5, 7. Prisoner absconded. By George, Harry, there's been a bolt. 1, 6, 1. With arms. Come here, Harry, here's a go.
No use making a fuss, Freddie. Just attend to your signals. Captain Frere is waiting for an answer. Send this message. Signal sent to Eagle Hawk. I know the code, so don't try any tricks, Freddie. Here it is, 853.
What's keeping you, Dandy?
Just sprinkling salt on Frere's tail.
We found the next. They're striking Gabbett's irons.
Good. Now send this signal. 631.
Watch Point Pure? Why Point Pure?
Because that's where we're not going.
You're a foxy one, Dandy Jack.
Just send the message.
We've got them? Eh, Quincy?
Not exactly, Captain. You see, the semaphore station on Signal Hill wasn't responding, and we sent Peterson up to investigate. Well, Jones and Tuttle have been out of commission, so to speak, for hours. It was the bolters sent the last messages.
Bloody John Rex. So much for your flies and honey theories. You can tell the prisoners that from now on, this place is going to be run like a penal colony, not a damned boarding school.
And for weeks now, I have watched this new discipline clamp down like an ugly vice. I've seen a man flogged for accidentally dropping his jacket over a so-called boundary line. Men sent to the pepper mill and to the stretcher rack for reasons they can't even fathom. The jails, even the solitary cells, are overflowing with the wretched devils.
You haven't noticed anyone trying to leave in the last 2 months, have you, Mr. North? The prisoners are obviously beginning to like it here.
The men slink into their huts at night like whipped hounds to a kennel. It has become a crime here to do anything but breathe.
I was sent down here to keep order. And by God, sir, I will do it.
But at what cost? And the worst thing I've seen is your method of making constables of some of the prisoners and setting them to spy on their fellows.
Yes, I put that system into use at Maria Island. And I found it was a great success.
It is evil. A system where treachery is rewarded is degrading and immoral.
Hardly immoral, Mr. North.
The previous chaplain, the Reverend Meakin, was strongly in favor of severe punishment. He said it helped expedite the souls of the convicts into heaven.
I know that the Lord does not make mistakes, Mr. Frere. But his servant, the church, does. And I am afraid Mr. Meakin is one of those mistakes. He is a complete ass.
Ah, there you are, my dear. Did you have a pleasant day?
I found a lovely shade tree near a stream to read in the afternoons.
Oh, I forgot. You two haven't met. Reverend North. This is my wife.
I hope I didn't disturb anything.
Just a philosophic debate on convict discipline. No hard feelings about our little discussion. Would you care to stay to dinner?
Please do, Mr. North. We could so use some fresh company.
Well, thank you, Bob.
Excuse me for interrupting. Captain, they want you down at your office. They got one of the bolters there.
Well, madam, I believe I have just solved the mystery of the French novels in the captain's library. I have a copy of Balzac's Nana, if you would permit me to drop it by for you.
Thank you. I would like that, Mr. North.
Where are your mates, Cabot?
Captain asked you a question. They're dead.
You've been gone over 2 months. How did you survive?
Some sailors found him on the point, sir, and brought him across. Funny thing, Captain. They said he didn't seem hungry.
Give him 10 lashes for himself, and 10 for each man that escaped with him.
We're all one and the same now, anyway.
And then send him to the coal mines.
Your bath will be ready, Jack. As soon as you finish the wood.
I'll never be finished with this bloody wood.
I'm so bored with this.
Sarah. Sarah.
Let's go to England.
So you could join your old friends in their con games. You'd wind up right back in Port Arthur without me looking after you, Jack. We stay here, where I can turn you in as an escaped convict if you are not kind and loving to me.
Devil. You're a strange woman.
To love such a villain? A better man would be wearisome to me. I've been thinking, Jack. Why don't we buy the 2 adjoining properties? There's a fortune to be made on wool in this country. What's the scar?
Hmm? No. I got that from Dawes when he jumped me in the prison yard.
What did you do that for?
Some little jest I made about a lady who was looking for a son. Next thing I knew, I was fighting for my life. I wonder why.
I remember Rufus Dawes. Didn't seem like a queer cove.
No, matter of fact, he's not. Never known him to do anything without a reason.
Let it out, team number one.
Boy, nice and straight, nice and straight.
Keep your line moving. Come on now, get that line going.
Sophocles expresses the same idea in Philoctetes. But for some reason, I can't quite quote it today. It is indeed a beautiful poem, Mrs. Frere. I never tire of Tennyson.
Here, take it, Mr. North. It is a gift.
Thank you. I shall treasure it.
Back in line.
What are you doing, Dawes?
Just passing the time, Mooney. Tell me if you hear the guard.
Huh?
You drink this, love. You'll feel better. Do look a bit down in the mouth, old girl. Maybe I should get Dr. Tennant to take a look at you. Hmm?
I'll be all right in a couple of days. Will you go into town for me? It's the payment to Foster for the land he sold us. Cash it and give it to him before noon. He'll have the papers ready. Pick up something for yourself while you're in town. One of those new shirts they've brought in from London.
Ah, good idea. Thank you.
Make my apologies to Elsie Kennedy on the way back. I promised to help her with her pickling this afternoon.
Well, don't expect me back too early. Take me ages to get away from her blabbermouth husband.
Oh, and you might as well bring them some of the mutton while you're at it. I'll save you the trip Friday.
Right. Well, better take the cart then, eh? You try and get some sleep, love.
Send it out, team number 1.
Nice and straight.
Keep your line moving. Come on now, get that line going.
Safe journey.
How you feeling, Mooney?
Josh. Oh, terrible. Hey, I know what I miss.
Freedom.
Freedom. Oh, I've forgotten what that is. What I miss most is me to Becky.
I'll get you tobacco.
You mean it? You know it's 100 if you get caught, lad.
I said I'd do it. Next Sunday.
Doors? Can anyone hear us?
Not if you speak quietly.
I've been sworn to be secret about this. But you've been good to me, lad. There's a boat planned from the coal mines. If you can get yourself transferred to there.
Not interested. I've got a plan of my own. I've built a boat.
You, prisoner. Take the rest in. I'd think a man like you could find a better way to spend his free Sunday than to visit Blind Mooney. Although I believe you've been busy in your spare time. It's come to my attention. Hello there, what's this? Going to take this into Mooney, were you? You know the punishment for having tobacco. I think I might enjoy laying on the first 50 myself.
Thank goodness you found it, Captain. It's this bothersome tear. Thank you so very much.
You've as many lives as a cat does. I remember another time when you were almost dead. And we built a coracle. Did you really think it would work a second time? And since you don't seem to appreciate your job in the fields, we'll transfer you to the pepper mill in the morning.
Thanks for the Becky, lad. The preacher.
Tell me about the bolt from the coal mines. When's it to be?
Oh, not for a while. They still got a lot of tunnelling to do.
Whose rush is it?
Cabot's.
Mr. Jarvis.
Yes?
I'm making some inquiries about a member of the Divine family. May I come in?
Yes, of course.
I understand you were in the employ of the Divines.
For almost 30 years, sir. Retired now with a pension and good character.
I was hoping that you'd remember the son, Richard Devine.
Oh, yes, sir, Master Richard. But I'm afraid he's dead, sir. Went down with a ship on his way to India.
Did he know? I'm not so sure. You are positive they spent very little time together?
Master Richard was away at school for most of his youth. And as soon as he was old enough, he ran away to sea.
The last years, the years you'd remember?
His last trip was almost 2 years. And when he did come home, the night Sir Edward died, it was for less than an hour.
Excellent. Now, Jarvis, I want to know everything that was peculiar about Richard. Every gesture, every mannerism.
But, sir, it's been almost 15 years.
Am I asking too much for my promise of an even 100 a year?
This is the main bedroom. Lady Eleanor occupies it. Her brother, Mr. Francis Wade, moved in after Sir Edward died. His rooms are here.
And my rooms, Jarvis?
Master Richard slept here when he was at home, which was not that frequent.
How frequent?
Master Richard was away so much.
So much isn't good enough, Jarvis. I want the day and month and year of all his comings and goings.
But, sir, after all these years, even Lady Eleanor won't recall such details.
Perhaps not, Jarvis. But I will.
Me, Mooney. What are you doing here?
Doors! Oh, they found me the Becky doors. And they threw me out the hospital. Yeah, I'll do the grinding. I can't see the sack or pour. Doors, I can't take this life anymore. I've got an escape plan.
What is it, Mooney?
You know it. You've seen it. A couple of mates of mine did it last year. You and me draw straws. The long straw gets a quick ticket out. The short straw kills him. And they hang the short straw. Either way, we're both out.
Not for me, Mooney. I'm going to try the mine tunnel.
They only send the worst cases there.
They'll send me.
They're getting an early start this season with the planting. Maybe if we doubled their labor, they could supply our settlement.
Horace, they're children.
Sylvia, sometimes I think you're a little too harsh on me with your judgments. When we get to Point Pure, I'm sure you'll be most impressed with the way we treat our young boys.
See this? We put them to work and teach them a trade. Keeps their little fingers busy on something useful to society and away from thieving, at which most of them are very adept. Then, when we turn them loose on society at the end of their term, they then have a choice. They can lead a useful life and work as honest men with a trade.
Do they?
Some of them are back already for the second time.
Do you flog the children?
It's required for discipline, Mrs. Frere. But we keep the limit to under 20 lashes.
You'd be surprised, Sylvia, what these young blackguards get up to behind your back. Look, why don't you go up to the point and enjoy the scenery while the lieutenant and I finish the inspection? We can't have you too tired for our dinner party tonight.
Mom,
What is it you might?
we want to know why you're at Point Pure, Mum.
I came to visit you. How long have you been here?
Don't know exactly. 3 years, I think.
Hasn't anyone ever kissed you before? Poor little man.
Me mother used to. Might fetch Billy. This is Billy, Mum. Billy never had no mother. Kiss Billy.
You two poor babies.
Believe me, Sylvia, none of them have been sent here without sufficient reason. But they're out for little humbugs and know how to take advantage of soft hearts like yours.
I can do it now. I feel strong. Will it hurt much, Tommy? Not as much as a whopping. But Tom, it looks so deep. Please don't leave me. Now I can't leave you. What was it the lady that kissed us said, Tommy? Lord, have pity on them two fatherless children. Let's say it, Tommy. Lord, have pity on them two fatherless children.
I know these young devils. They do it out of spite.
Those two poor babies were driven to suicide.
Get a message back to Point Pure. I want more careful supervision of the boys. Won't do to have them slipping through our fingers like this.
Mr. Johnson, have them keep the bodies until I get there in the morning. They are to receive a blessing before they're buried.
For suicide?
Send the message, Johnson.
It's no idle talk, Captain. I mean to do it this time.
Nonsense. The convicts are always threatening to kill one of the guards. It's best to pay no attention.
Please, Captain. Transfer me.
No, by God, that'd be giving in to them. Do you think I could run this settlement if I trembled at every convict rumor? Permission for transfer denied.
All right, fall in line and be quick about it. And keep quiet for the captain.
The life of Warder Troke has been threatened. He was due to leave at the end of the month. But I'm keeping him on 1 extra month. In the meantime, if you want to kill someone,
Kill me! That's a fine pistol you have there, Jack. It has a hair trigger. Just the tiniest pressure will do it. And if you do, every musket in this yard will empty into you. And even if they'll miss, they'll hang you afterward for sure. What do you think about it, Jack? Maybe it's worth it. Your life for mine.
It was only a game, Captain.
The peppermill must have affected your mind, Dawes. You heard what I told Shears.
My life for yours, Captain. Seems a fair offer.
You'll go with him, Jack. I'd say you were in this together.
No, Dawes!
Hawkins, bring Shears up in the morning. We'll give him 25 for his little game. As for Dawes, some time in the coal mine should cool his temper.
Rare sent you to spy us here, has he?
Maybe. When's the bolt?
I don't know nothing about no boat. But if there was, you wouldn't be going.
If you don't take me, you don't go.
I could kill you down here, Dawes. And no one would know.
That's what you're going to have to do, Gabbett.
Down here, Gabbett. And no one would know.
Let him be, Dawes.
Am I in?
We could use him. Gabbett.
All right.
Tunnel's at the end of the north shaft.
Is it finished?
Can only spare 2 men at a time. Take about 3 more weeks to break through.
What's the plan?
As soon as the tunnel's finished, we go first thing next morning.
That's only a 12-hour start.
There's nothing else for it. If we don't go up at the end of the day,
Have they come down after us?
Not if we're dead and buried. You rig a cave in. It'll take them a week to dig through. And considering who's down here, they may not bother to dig at all.
Oh, Mr. North, I was beginning to think you'd forgotten.
I'm sorry if I've detained you, Mrs. Frere.
No matter. What shall it be? I think I'm in the mood for Robert Burns today. Is that all right with you?
No. No, it's not.
Mr. North, is something wrong?
It's just that Burns, perhaps some Milton.
Milton? Could we compromise on Byron? Mr. North, what is it?
It's this place. The endless punishments, the hopelessness, and other things, Mrs. Frere. Yesterday, a prisoner in the pepper mill asked me for a rose I wore in my buttonhole because it came from your garden. He seemed to know you. His name is Rufus Dawes.
He was our gardener when I was a little girl. I understand that later he tried to kill me, kill us all.
Kill you? I don't believe it.
Had it not been for my husband, he would have done so.
Only a monster could consider such an act. How could anyone not love you?
Mr. North, are you feeling ill?
Yes, Mrs. Frere. And it is a curious illness.
You are talking very strangely.
Well, if you will excuse me, I must leave now. And I would suggest that the less we see of each other, the better.
Not much honor in your profession, is there, Mr. Edgley?
Mr. Dunn, may I present Lady Eleanor Devine?
Please, Mr. Dunn.
Your investigator has become famous for questioning every sailor with the initial RD, but I've already told him I know nothing that can be of help to you.
Then why did you pay him not to report back to me?
There are reasons, personal reasons, why I would rather not be questioned by solicitors.
You shall have your money back. You must think me very foolish, Mr. Dunn, to continue searching for all these years. But if ever I stop searching and hoping...
I understand, Lady Eleanor.
And perhaps you could also find it in your heart to spare a moment for a bereaved mother. Thank you, Mr. Edgley. May I describe Richard Devine to you? He had rather intense eyes. Somewhat like yours. He was 10 inches above 5 feet in height, just as you are.
You're mistaken, my lady. I'm more than 2 inches taller than that.
And his only fault was that he was perhaps a shade too quick to anger. And he had a habit. I used to scold him about it often when he was very young. Of sitting backwards in his chair.
Strange. My mother never seemed to mind.
Tell me about your parents, Mr. Dunn. What were they like?
Ordinary people from the north.
Yet you sound educated.
I've been traveling the world since I was 12, and from time to time I had the good fortune to fall in with others about my station. Now, if you'll excuse me, Lady Eleanor, I'm sure your son will return someday. Any son with a mother such as you.
Richard?
Lady Eleanor, I'm not your son. And if I were, I said if I were, you would wish that I were not. In 15 years of wandering this earth, there are things that happen to a man.
15 years, Mr. Dunn? You said you left home when you were 12.
What difference? How many years?
Oh, Richard. Do you think it matters what you have done? All I know is that you're home now.
Did you go out today?
No.
Reading some trashy novel again, I suppose.
We'll be eating in the dining room as soon as you're ready, Robbie. Have you taken some mutton out for your own dinner?
Oh, of course not, Mum. That'd be stealing.
You're too familiar with the convict servant, Sylvia.
Did you invite Mr. North to dinner Friday, Morris?
He can't come. Says he has no time for social engagements these days. I can't imagine what keeps the fellow so busy.
Morris, I want to visit my father for a while. I'm lonely and I have no one to talk to.
You could talk to me more often, Sylvia.
I hate the life at the settlement here. I have to get away for a while. The Lady Franklin is due in a few weeks. I'd like to sail on it, if you have no objections.
I imagine you'll do what you want to do. You always have. Maybe the change will do you good. You've been too down in the mouth for my liking these days anyway. Why don't you take some sal volatile? They say it works wonders.
Morris, so volatile.
You're just a strange girl, Sylvia. I've never really been able to understand you.
Oh.
Cigar around? No. We're gonna do it, yours. Me and Bland. The escape plan, what I told you about.
You sure, Mooney?
What have I got to look forward to? Another flogging? Another month in the pepper mill? Would you hold the straws? You draw, Bland.
You win, Mooney.
Good. Go to it. Come on, Bland. What are you waiting for? I'm ready.
Thought you might like to pray a bit.
Oh, that's a nice thought. Aye. George, do you think there is a heaven?
I know there's a hell.
If there is a heaven, I think I shall go there. Yeah. I know you will, lad, 'cause you'll be good to me. God bless you, George.
Well, well, what have we here? Looks like a simple case of murder. Let's get the corpse out of here. I'm surprised at you, Dawes. Didn't think we'd get rid of you this easy.
Oh, did he?
Don't matter. Dawes will hang just as high as an accomplice.
No!
Unless you can convince the judge you wasn't at home last night when this happened.
Good morning, Uncle.
Oh, Richard, I was just coming up to see you.
Ah, not to discuss more of those tiresome business affairs, I hope.
Well, I don't like these matters any more than you do, Richard. I was obliged to administer your father's estate under the terms of his will, but...
And you've done so admirably.
I feel you should meet with the lawyers and sign the papers.
Oh, please, Uncle, let's not get involved with lawyers or papers just yet. I would like to relax for a while. It's just good to be home.
Call me when you want to leave, sir. The outside door is bolted.
Did the judge arrive on that ship?
I brought you something. I know that it's forbidden for prisoners to have books, but this one is very small.
Thank you, Reverend. It'll help the days pass.
It may sound strange under the circumstances, but in a way, you're a lucky man. There was some bad trouble at the mines.
A cave-in?
How did you know?
They happen.
A terrible tragedy. I'm afraid that by the time they dig through all that rock...
You're right, Reverend. I'm a very lucky man.
I want to see the prisoner Rufus Dawes.
He's under punishment.
So I understand. I want to see him now.
The Commandant gave strict orders.
Mr. Gimlet, open this door at once. This is not punishment. This is murder. Who ordered this?
The Commandant.
Untie him.
I daren't, Mum.
Untie him! Do you know who I am? I order you to get this prisoner off immediately. Poor man. How long has he been like this?
About an hour.
It's a lie. He's been there almost 5 hours.
Why? Just because of a book?
Yes, ma'am. They found it in his cell. Strictly forbidden for...
That is my book, and I wanted him to have it. Get some water. And get him off this torture rack.
I'm sorry.
It seems to me you spend your life being sorry, Mr. North. You knew about that hours ago. How could you permit something like that to happen?
Your opinion of me may be justified, Mrs. Frere, but I have limited authority here.
You have moral authority. Why don't you use it? They're all cowards, Mr. North. They released that prisoner when a woman merely raised her voice.
What the devil's this I hear? You have been releasing prisoners?
Captain Frere.
Well, I might have known you put her up to this meddling.
The man is probably going to hang, Mr. Frere. Isn't that enough for you?
I have 1,000 other prisoners here who are not going to hang. My job is to maintain discipline. And I will do it if I have to kill 100 doors.
You already have, Mr. Frere. At least that number. You are a murderer, sir. No better than the worst prisoner here. It is only by a strange fate that you are commandant instead of convict.
You hypocritical scoundrel! If it went for your black coat, sir. Women, priests and convicts. A pack of whimpering, simpering fools.
How can you tolerate this dreadful place? Leave with me.
I am leaving. When the Lady Franklin sails.
I sent my resignation to the governor a month ago. I am sailing on the Lady Franklin as well.
I think you'd best go now. We should not see or speak to each other again until we sail.
I'm terribly sorry about the book doors.
I memorized every poem. Would you thank her for me, Mr. North?
Her?
Sylvia, Mrs. Frere. I want you to ask her one final favor for me. It's important that I speak to her before my trial.
Having heard the testimony of Warder Troke and the confession of one of the prisoners, Jeremy Bland, I'm prepared to render my decision. But first, I must mention that I am appalled at the inhumanity of the defendants. To commit a cold-blooded murder of an old, blind man is dreadful. But I find it equally abhorrent to stand idly by and do nothing to prevent it. Therefore, I sentence you both, Jeremy Bland and Rufus Dawes, to death by hanging on Monday, November 27th, 1850, at 6 o'clock in the morning.
I want everything shipshape and all aboard. We sail within the hour. Good evening, Judge. Evening.
Seems like old times, doesn't it, Mrs. Frere? Captain, Mr. Johnson will take your bags.
Give way, men. Wait for Mr. North at the jetty. If he misses the ship through your laziness, you'll pay for it.
Mr. North came aboard earlier. Then he found he'd forgotten something. Can't miss the tide. If he's late, we sail without him.
Afraid I can't give you admittance, Your Reverence. Must have a written order before you can visit a prisoner under sentence of death, sir. I'm sorry.
You don't think I'd come here without authority, do you?
Well, being a reverend and all, I guess.
Here, man, take a sip of this. You look chilled to the bone.
I waited. I waited for a visit. A word. A message. Right up till the moment I was sentenced to die. At least tell me what she said when you asked her.
I didn't ask her. I've not seen Mrs. Ferrer since that dreadful day in the stretcher room, and she leaves for Sydney tonight.
She could have testified for me at the trial.
Testified? About what?
I saved her life when she was a little girl. Freya promised me a pardon. If I'd had a chance to speak to her, she would have remembered. She was my last hope.
Oh, my God, what have I done? You cannot think worse of me than I do myself.
Who's that? You want your rum, Your Reverence?
No, you can keep it. I will want that flask, however. So, drink up, man. Come on, drink up. I've forgotten something. Don't lock the door. I'll be right back. Quickly, Mr. Dawes. Put this on and keep your head down. The guard is drunk and the main door is open. It's your only chance. There's a boat waiting at the jetty which will take you to the ship. My cabin is at the stern on the port side. Go in and lock the door.
And what happens to you?
I'll say you overpowered me and escaped into the bush. Now go, the ship is due to leave. But take care. Captain Blunt and the judge and Mrs. Frere are all on board and know you.
Who's that? Thanks for your rum, Your Reverence. I only needed it against the shadow.
Oh, there. That you, Mr. North? Ain't too much time, sir. Jump in, sir. Be a dirty night tonight. Here, put this around your knees, sir. Shut her off.
There you are, lad. Just tucking you in safely for the night.
That parson. We can't wait all night for him. Heave ahead, Mr. Partridge. Prepare to up anchor! Let the sheet anchor!
Silence the north! Have a good boy!
Belay the mainsail sheet! Eyes up!
No shade, Your Reverence.
Sure, sir. They're burning a red light. Must be a prisoner escaped. Shall we light too?
Help Freer hunt down these bloody prisoners. I don't ask him to sail my ship.
Yes? Your dinner, Reverend? Just leave it at the door.
Mr. North. Mr. North, are you in there? Oh, have you seen Reverend North?
Oh, he's still in his cabin, ma'am.
He hasn't been up on deck.
He's been sick since we sailed. It's odd, though. He's eaten some hearty meals.
Mr. North. Are you feeling better tonight? Yes,
It's Johnson, ma'am. We've docked.
thank you.
A message from the Reverend North for you, ma'am.
Yes?
He's still a bit under the weather and says he'll stay in his bed a while. He'll pay his respects to you and Major Vickers when he gets his land legs back.
Thank you.
Can I give you a hand with your bags, ma'am?
No, I'm not quite ready yet, thank you. Papa! Papa!
I've missed you, Bobby.
I forgot my hairbrush.
I'll get it for you, Sylvia.
No, I'll get it. I know where it is.
Hurry up a bit.
I think I remember packing it in my small bag.
You're dawdling, Bobby. It's not like you at all.
Mr. Hart? Right over this way, sir. Any sign of storm damage down there?
A couple of small cracks above the waterline, Captain. Needs repairing.
Bye, Your Reverence.
Heavy.
Driver, stop, please, stop.
Whoa there! Whoa!
Mr. North! Where is Mr. North?
At Port Arthur. He helped me get away
Why?
because he knows the truth. He knows that I never harmed you and that it was I who built the coracle.
Coracle?
We had to kill your pet goat. You named her Robinson Crusoe because she was marooned with you. And you helped me build a raft to float to the island of goats. You were the queen, and we were all your faithful subjects.
Coracle. Yes. We waited for you. We waited for you all day long to come back from Goat Island. The ocean. Good Mr. Dawes.
You were my guardian angel. And I would...
Who was that?
Reverend North, the settlement chaplain. He was sick the entire voyage, poor man. Let's go home, Papa.
Hi, Captain.
Aren't intruding at all, Miss McWilliams. I'm sure Richard would be delighted to see you. Ah. Richard, we have a surprise for you. An old acquaintance of yours.
But of course. And a wonderful surprise it is, too.
Why Why don't you take Miss Williams into the parlor? I shall have tea sent in.
Yes. Ah, wonderful to see you again, my dear.
I was in London yesterday on business. I own a millinery shop in Edinburgh now, and while I was in London, I thought of you.
Edinburgh in the autumn.
It was Glasgow then, Richard.
What matter the place?
You promised to return. Ein Mann, ein Wort, you said.
Well, you were so good with foreign languages, my dear. You always amazed me.
You don't remember me anymore, do you, Richard? You don't even know my name.
Well, frankly, my dear, I don't. You see, I've been traveling the world for so many years, it's impossible to remember every face I see. Charming as yours may be. But, no matter. What can I do for you? Is it money you want?
What's this all about, Richard?
I'm building a store.
I heard. But where do you expect to find customers? In the bush?
They'll be here.
I'll tell you what. I'll buy a pound of your flour to make all your hard work worthwhile.
It's not for sale yet. But I hear you've got 2,000 pounds of damaged sugar in your store. I'll give you twopence a pound for the lot.
If you've got the money.
I'll pick it up Tuesday.
Why don't you come back and work for me, Richard? You were a good shepherd, but I don't think you'll make a success as a storekeeper.
Mr. Loftus, may I offer you some advice? I think you should purchase the home station.
Why? My rent is almost nothing.
My guess is that there'll be hundreds of men camped here before 2 months have passed.
Will you keep this a secret until I get the papers fixed?
If you'll sell me 500 of your prime sheep in the mountain paddock.
Done.
Keep it for the sheep and I'll owe you another 110 pounds.
Why don't you dig?
When this gold field opens up, there'll be half the world here. Whether they find gold or not, they're gonna need picks, pans, cradles, saddles, food, shovels, and all the rest. So far, I've found a few small nuggets. I may never find another one. Digging is just a lottery. My way is certain. Can I help you, madam?
Sí, por favor.
Salt. Pickaxe.
Gracias. Goodbye, Senor Wade.
Goodbye.
Go on, clear off, get out of here.
That way is better. On the left. Izquierda.
Gracias.
Come on, you idiots! Get this door open! About time.
Sorry, sir, but I'd already retired. If I may assist, sir. Please, sir, let me help you to your room.
Get away from me, you idiot! Now look what you've done. Clumsy oaf.
I'll sweep it up immediately.
No, you can do that later. Get me some supper. Where is everyone? This place is full of ghouls. Ghouls!
Wait, madam.
Huh? It's too early for her bedtime. I'll get her to join me for some supper. Take your hands off me, you fools. I'll have you dismissed for this. If you get...
I think by tomorrow you'll have leveled this entire valley.
Ola's mother's canoe. She will not let me. She's a jealous one. She wants everything to keep herself. She will not tell me her secret.
Maybe you keep her up too late at night. She needs to sleep too. I think you make her angry. Perhaps a warm fire and an early night will put her in a better mood tomorrow. You like it here?
At night, see.
Did you come alone?
Mi pobrecito padre. With my father. It was his dream to be at the Gulls Field. But he's dead on the ship. And he never see a Gulls Field.
But you have. He'd be proud. His daughter built a mine shaft.
No, not a very good one. And he does not find me gold.
You want to return to Spain?
Not without gold. I laugh at my father. I not let them laugh.
There are other ways to find gold. I'll show you.
license before we make a strike.
You shouldn't. That's why the miners rioted in the Turon fields.
The troopers here won't stand around for that.
Maybe not, but you have to get yourselves organised and take some kind of a stand.
We'll stone the next trooper that rides in here to check the licenses. The gold fields belong to those as whack 'em.
I'm not suggesting violence. There are other ways. That man who went in the store, what's his name?
Richard Wade. He owns the store. Do you know him?
Thought I did. But I must be mistaken.
A stranger came to the store today to talk to the miners. He said he thought he knew you.
What did he look like?
Oh, he was in the clothes of a man of business. His leg was of wood, I think.
I would rather not see any old acquaintance here.
Is a problem?
A long time ago, I was accused of a crime I didn't commit. And I was transported to Van Diemen's Land.
With the convicts?
I escaped.
And now they look for you.
Did this man ask for me by name?
No, pero if you do nothing wrong, you must get a lawyer to tell them it was a big mistake.
It's not that simple. When I was at the prison settlement, there were other things I did do.
Pero your family.
They're in England. They think I'm dead. And it's better that way.
When did this come?
Last week, sir. It was delivered to the family house and was sent on down here to London by your mother with others. Hope there's nothing wrong, sir.
Nothing, you infernal ass. Except that I should have had this immediately.
You just got back from Paris last night, sir, and I thought...
Can't you see? It's marked urgent. Can you read? Can you spell? Oh, never mind. Get out.
Mr. Devine, good to see you, sir. Your dinner has already been ordered.
You didn't expect to see me again, did you?
Sarah. I never really meant...
Hush, my dear. Richard. It must be Richard now, I suppose. This isn't the time for explanations. The world may know you as Richard Devine, but to me, you are merely a runaway husband and an escaped convict. If you don't sit down and eat your supper in a civil manner, I shall call for the police. Just to think. I have spent half my life getting you out of trouble. And what for?
I'm truly sorry, Sarah. Things just happened.
I've traced your actions from the day you arrived in England. I know your continental trips, your journeyings here and there, searching for your clues. I've pieced together the puzzle as you have done. And I know that you're ruining an innocent family.
Since when have you become so virtuous?
Since I began using my head. I'm a rich woman in New South Wales, and I don't have to resort to trickery anymore. I've come to take you back with me, Richard.
Well, you may be what you call rich, Sarah, but not near so wealthy and powerful as Richard Devine. I have a house in London with my own stables. I keep a yacht at Cowes. I have a villa at Brompton. I'm set for life, Sarah.
Are you? When I first saw it, I felt it looked enough like you to warrant spending a lot of money on investigations. And here you are. But for how long? What about the man's identity you've stolen? What if he sees the picture?
That's impossible. Mr. Richard Devine is, to all intents and purposes, dead.
You're certain?
Positive. I can assure you there's very little chance of Mr. Richard Devine ever turning up here.
Good. Then you're not concerned that a man who calls himself Rufus Dawes escaped from Port Arthur more than 2 years ago.
For stores. Are you sure? Well, it doesn't matter. He probably never made it away alive.
You did?
Well, even so, he couldn't afford to expose me. He'd be signing his own death warrant.
But maybe he could afford to kill you. I seem to remember he tried to kill you when you merely mentioned his mother's name.
Goldfields are up ahead, Major. This is where you can get your provisions. Inside the carriage where it's full.
I need to get the circulation going. See that the horses are watered and fed. I'll see you inside the store.
I'd like a hot tea, please. While I wait for these provisions. Bitter outside. How's your supply of flour and mutton?
We're well stocked. Mutton is 2 shillings a pound.
Expensive.
Provisions are scarce in a goldfield.
Yes, of course. I'll have 6 pounds of flour, 10 pounds of your mutton.
Tea for the gentleman, please.
I'm stopping off at my friend's property on the way to Sydney. He's a new settler. That ought to keep him going for a while. Anything on that list you don't have?
I have everything, sir.
Good. I'll take my tea by the fire. Thank you. That seems to be everything. Let's go, driver.
Who was that man?
Major Vickers. His son-in-law's the superintendent of all the jails in the colony. Captain Frere's stationed in Melbourne now. I saw him once last year. He says us Victorian troopers are the best in the colony.
Does Mrs. Frere live in Melbourne also?
Heard she was still living with her father in Sydney. The air's better for her health there.
Who is Mrs. Frere?
Someone who gave me hope.
Sorry, Captain Frere. I'm not in the business of hunting down criminals. I'm more likely to represent them in a court of law.
Not this one. I don't think any real lawyer would want him for a client.
I am in no position to choose my clients that carefully, Captain. Now, if you'll please excuse me.
I'll pay you handsomely for any information regarding Rufus Dawes, Mr. Willis.
Are you sure the man you're looking for is in this area, Captain?
No idea where he is. But I can put myself in the shoes of these chaps. If I was going to hide out, the goldfields are where I'd head for.
That man who was asking about you with the wooden leg. Es un problem?
Maybe not.
Sell North End House? Why, for heaven's sake?
Well, you asked me to take the responsibility off your hands. I am. I'm selling everything.
But the family home. The Grinling Ribbons carvings in the dining room are the finest in England.
I can't help that. I just need the cash.
Where would you find a buyer? North End must be worth, well, at least $500,000.
Well, I've already spoken to some people who'll cut it up into building allotments.
They'll tear down North End?
There's talk of a suburban line with a terminus at St. John's Wood.
Richard, surely you're jesting.
I'm dead serious. My wife, Sarah... Oh, yes, I was married on the continent last month. Well, Sarah wants to live in America for a while.
Oh, my son. I'm sorry, Francis. I have tried, but I just cannot like him. And he shall not sell this house.
You can't prevent it, Eleanor.
If he is my son, I can prevent it.
If he is?
Between Richard and myself, there is a secret. A shameful secret. If the man who claims to be my son does not know that secret, then he is an imposter.
Maybe you shouldn't have come with me.
From now on, Jack, where you go, I go.
I wonder why she said I should come alone. She can't possibly suspect anything after all this time. Hmm? Can she?
I asked to speak to you privately, Richard.
You can have nothing to say to my husband, madam. That is not my duty and privilege to hear.
Very well. I am forbidding you to sell Sir Edward's property.
Forbidding me? I am only doing what my father's will allows me to do.
Have you forgotten what took place in this very room 18 years ago? Don't you remember why you left this house where you were born? This house which you now wish to sell to strangers?
What is the point of this, madam? My husband...
The point is, madam, that this man may be your husband, but he is not my son.
Something must have disturbed you, Mother, or you would not make such an accusation.
My son and I shared a terrible secret, one which you seem to know nothing about.
I would rather I did not know. And you perhaps would rather not hear it.
After all these years, I think I am strong enough to hear the words, if you know them.
You said that I am Sarah's husband, but that I'm not your son. The truth is, I am your son, but I'm not Sir Edward's son.
You are merely guessing.
Perhaps I can also guess the name of my real father. Let us say, my real father is your cousin, Esme Armigell Wade, Lord Bellasis. No tears, Mother. Nothing has changed. Your secret is still safe with us.
Don't you see what this means? I can still stop you selling North End. You have no right to the inheritance. As a bastard, the law allows you nothing.
I understand that, Mother, but if we insist upon the letter of the law, how can we continue to protect your secret? How could we prevent you and your family name from becoming the scandal of London?
Now, how in the world would you know about that?
The upper class only think they have secrets from their servants.
Richard, why you go out tonight?
It's not another woman.
I wish it was. You go to see that man who gave you the note, no?
Yes.
Richard, don't go. Por favor.
He means me no harm.
Because you don't know that.
If he meant to turn me over to the authorities, he would have done so.
Then why he asked to see you?
He wants money, I would say,
For what?
for his continued silence.
What will you do?
Give it to him.
Come in, Mr. Wade. Or should I say Mr. Dawes?
What do you want, Mr. Willis? Blackmail?
We're all after gold, Mr. Dawes. Each in our own way.
Except for me, Dawes.
Sorry, Dawes. This isn't what I intended. I was just going to hit you for a chunk of money. But this persistent fellow guessed my motives and followed me here.
It's a good thing for you that I did. Do you think for one moment he'd have let you leave this place alive? No, Mr. Willis. This is the only way that you'll make any money out of this. I'll make sure that you're in for your fair share of the reward. Put those on him. And be very careful not to get between us. That was quite a trick you and that mealy-mouthed minister worked. Tell me, Dawes, was my wife in on it, too? I've spent a lot of time and money working towards this moment.
Shame it's all gone to waste, Captain. Don't turn, Mr. Frere. I have a pistol pointed at a very vulnerable spot between your shoulder blades.
I don't believe you.
I hope you're not going to demand proof, Mr. Frere. Now just set your pistol on the table and step away from it.
You're a fool, Willis. If you let that man walk out of here, your life will never be safe. Think about it. No matter what he promises to pay you.
You don't understand, Mr. Frere. He's already paid me. A long time ago.
Do I know you?
You were the one who encouraged me to study. 1 and 1 are 2. 2 and 2 are 4. It's been 18 years since we sailed together on the Malabar. The little 11-year-old boy you taught to do sums.
The blinker!
Now, old friend, what do we do with him? Looks like we've got a tiger by the tail. We can tie him up and leave him here. This shack's not being used. In 4 days' time, I'll send an anonymous note to the troopers.
Are you hit?
A little carpentry will fix my wound. First time I was ever grateful for a wooden leg.
He's dead. Sorry I got you mixed up in this.
Oh, I was always in it. This is a memento from a commandant who thought it was a good idea for young boys to help bail water at the bottom of a quarry, in spite of the frequent rock slides. I was luckier than my mate Timmy. I only got my leg crushed. His horse will be found soon. But it'll be weeks before they discover the body. Give you a chance to get out of the way if you're worried.
What about you?
I've no connection to Frere. Anyway, I'm leaving for England at the beginning of the month to lobby for the miners. Why don't you come with me?
To England? Why?
On the Malabar, you told me you were innocent. If that's true, maybe I can get you a new hearing.
I have no more faith in British justice now than I did then. But there is something you can do for me in London. I'd like some word of a lady.
An old love?
Just a lady who was once very kind to me. I'd like to know how she is. Her name is Lady Eleanor Devine, and I think she'd still be living at...
I know where she's living. And I can give you word of her right now. She's fine.
Do you know her?
No. There was an article in a newspaper when I was in London last. Her son had just returned home after being missing for years. That was a while ago.
Yes, madam.
Oh, I'd like to see Mr. Wade, please.
He's not here. May I help you?
When will he be back?
He sold the store. He left 2 months ago. I don't know where he went. I'm sorry.
Thank you.
You're Mrs. Frere, no?
Yes. Have we met?
He speak of you.
Thank you.
Careful, Uncle. I believe that particular item goes with the sale of the house.
I'm well aware of that. But I was the one who purchased it for Sir Edward. I picked it up for a song. The fact that it's worth far more today...
It's a tribute to your shrewd foresight. Yes, I know that, Uncle. You've told me often enough. Now, if you'll finish packing what is yours, I'm expecting the buyers in here at any moment.
They'll tear all this down, you know. These lovely old carvings will become firewood.
As it should be, Uncle. Those chunks of wood have warmed the souls of the divines for long enough. It's time they furnished warmth for the bodies of others. Progress, Uncle, progress. We should not stand in the way. If you knew what I'm realizing from the sale of this old shack. Take the vase, Uncle. My parting gift.
They're here.
Of course they're here. You're expecting them.
Yes, but I never really believed it until this minute. £500,000. Sarah, do you realize how we can live in America? Live there? We can buy it.
And Lady Eleanor?
What? She has a $3,000 a year, plus a tidy sum put away, I'm sure.
Beg pardon, sir, but there are two gentlemen here to see you.
Gentlemen. Oh, yes, I almost forgot. Show them into the study, would you reason?
I've done that, sir.
Good. Then, tell them I'll be along shortly. Welcome to North End, gentlemen. As the Spanish are fond of saying, my house is your house.
I'm Henry Collins, Mr. Randolph's solicitor.
This is my wife, Mrs. Devine.
Well, I have all the papers here.
Good, good. Then we can go right ahead. My solicitors have gone through everything and assure me all is in order.
Well, then it seems the signatures on the final documents are all that remain.
All?
Of course. Mr. Randolph's check is signed and ready to be turned over to you.
Well, gentlemen, perhaps a glass of sherry. Sarah, would you ring?
Could we get on with it, Henry? I don't mean this as an abuse of your hospitality, Mr. Devine, but if I toasted every deal I made, I'd scarcely draw a sober breath.
As you wish.
You're quite right, Mr. Randolph. It's best we get on with it.
I told you, sir, Mr. Devine must not be disturbed. This won't take but a moment. I'm sorry, sir, but he's with important gentlemen.
Is he now? Well, I've always felt him a rather important chap myself.
What is it, Reason?
This gentleman insisted on barging in, sir. Shall I send for a constable? Dreadfully sorry to disturb you, sir.
Well, what is it?
Mr. Richard Devine.
Can't this wait?
It's a matter of grave urgency, Mr. Devine. You see, I'm making inquiries about an escaped felon. Name of Rufus Dawes.
We are busy at the moment, but if you'd leave your card, my husband will call on you. Would Thursday be convenient?
Would for me, madam. But I happen to know that you're booked on the Manchester, which sails for America at noon tomorrow.
There has obviously been a mistake. I've never even heard of this.
Strange that you haven't, Mr. Devine. You see, we have positive proof that this
Rufus Dawes and Richard Devine are one and the same person.
That may well be. But I am not Richard Devine.
I don't understand, sir. Well, just who are you, then?
My papers will explain everything. The top drawer, Sarah. Show them.
Stand very still, gentlemen. I know how to use this. I wouldn't suggest leaving in a hurry, gentlemen. We may be waiting outside.
Excuse me, could I just borrow this? Go on. Quick! Quick, Sarah! Go on!
It would appear your performance was most convincing.
Thanks, Mr. Wade. It's a shame the audience didn't appreciate it.
I apologize if there was any danger.
Danger, Mr. Wade? I've been in far more danger on the stage at the Haymarket. But for a lot less money.
I'm sorry you were inconvenienced, gentlemen. I'm Richard Wade, a distant relative. The name is Reason, I understand. Be good enough to ready a carriage for the gentleman. I'm afraid theirs is temporarily in use.
I'm still interested, you know. If whoever is really in charge ever decides to sell.
I doubt that will ever happen, sir.
Richard? I heard a disturbance. Is everything all right? Major Vickers. My servant tells me that you're inquiring about a Richard Devine.
Yes, madam. Is he at home?
Richard Devine is dead.
Well, I understood the gentleman who'd been living here for the past year under the name of Richard Wade was...
Is the son of my late cousin, Esme Amagirl Wade, Lord Bellas's.
I see. I take it then that you are Lady Eleanor Devine.
And my son, Richard, has been dead for almost 20 years.
I see. I'm sorry. It was not my intent to disturb you, Lady Eleanor. I'm not the bearer of ill tidings.
Major Vickers.
Mr. Dawes. I'm delighted to see you.
I wish I could say the same, Major.
I was about to inform Lady Eleanor at the time, the bearer of welcome news. There was quite a charade you and Sylvia played for me at Sydney Docks.
She was always kind to me. I trust she is well.
She's quite well, thank you. She informed me that you were indeed promised a pardon by my late son-in-law, Captain Frere. Between your lawyer, Willis, and Sylvia, I was persuaded to ask for a re-examination of your case.
Richard is innocent. Lord Bellasis was alive when they parted, and he gave Richard that watch.
I've been here a month now, having the original trial records re-examined. There are several other contradictory elements that didn't come up at the time. Elements that show a completely new light on your original conviction. Now, as to the charges that have been brought against you since, as I hold myself personally responsible for a great deal of those troubles, I persuaded the governor to quash those charges also. An unconditional pardon from the Crown. And a letter from my daughter. She's living with me in England now. A dinner invitation, I believe.
Good Mr. Dawes. My father and I request the pleasure of your company for dinner at 3 Elms this Sunday afternoon at 1 o'clock on the 24th day of July. You'll be pleased to know the Aphrodite rose flourishes well in English soil.